Minecraft is such an expansive game. Think about just how many things you can do in and with Minecraft. You've got the base survival mode, the countless amounts of minigame servers, mods, the online community, millions of YouTube videos. There is so much that this game provides to its players. Another thing, however, that Minecraft has been used for essentially since its creation is for horror. Now, when I talk about mixing Minecraft and horror, I'm sure you immediately think about the infamous Herobrine, who was a scary white-eyed Steve who's been around for over a decade. Jesus Christ, that makes me feel so old. However, outside of Herobrine, horror and Minecraft have had a fairly long history together, and horror content is still being made for Minecraft to this day. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at various different aspects of the horror Minecraft scene, splitting it into 3 separate parts: horror maps, horror mods, and last but not least, actual horror games based on Minecraft, which were surprisingly hard to find. Maybe I'm just dumb, I don't know. Let's start off with what is probably the most active part of the Minecraft horror community, the adventure maps, because nothing is scarier than an armor stand popping out at you with a bloody Steve head on it.
Click level for a surprise. Oh, let's go! I love surprises!
A very quick rundown of what a Minecraft map is. Basically, people can make their own Minecraft levels for players to download and play on their own, such as adventure maps, minigame maps, and of course, horror maps. There were so many to choose from, and I ended up picking 2 that were very much opposites of each other. Also, I saw the title The Blood Man, and I just had to download it, but we'll get to that later. So let's begin with the map Back to School. Created by Killer Creeper 55, a popular Spanish Minecraft creator, Back to School is a horror adventure map where you play as a teacher named Daniel who investigates the murder of a student, one that you were recently arrested for. Right off the bat, this shit looks fantastic. The texture pack alone is pretty solid, and the cutscene that plays before the game starts, an actual cutscene, is super well made. The gameplay is very simple. Right click to interact with objects, you can push items to move them to certain places. It's very standard horror game stuff. However, the cool part is that all of this was translated to work in Minecraft perfectly. It really feels like you're playing a whole different game sometimes. The game begins with a cutscene of the fateful day where you were arrested. 1 week later, you're outside the school at night and you need to find a way in. You've also got a tape player in your inventory, and can I just say, it's really weird hearing actual voice acting in Minecraft. Maybe that's just me.
To say goodbye, from the editorial office, we want to continue showing all our support to the family and friends of Martin Nova.
Anyways, what you have to do here is easy. You push the garbage can, put it against the gate, hop over the gate, all is dandy. Getting into the school is a bit trickier as the doors are locked, so you have to hit them with the classic breakthrough window technique and enter through the gym. This is where things finally begin to get a little scary, as entering the actual gym, the basketball moves by itself? A classic reference to High School Musical 3, of course. Anyways, you eventually make your way outside and around to where the classrooms are at. Once again, the models are done pretty well, and I almost forgot I was in Minecraft until I looked down at my goofy purple arm. The new objective is to find your 5th grade classroom, and after wandering around for a bit and then accidentally ripping this metal door off of the breaker box, I found the teacher's office with a key. Grabbing the key, you get hit with the classic breakthrough window, and it becomes clear you are not alone in this school. You're then able to open the other teacher's office, where a note addressed to you is found. It apologizes for the whole accidentally being arrested thing and basically tells you you're gonna be fired. I do wonder how he knew you'd break into the school and read this though. Still on the hunt for more keys, it turns out that the keys you need to get into your office are in the caretaker's house, a house that was seen earlier outside. Backtracking into the house, which, come on man, there's like no ceiling room for this poor guy. You can interact with the phone to play a voicemail, basically just the director telling the caretaker stuff we already read. Not very important. Maybe ceiling height was the least of the caretaker's worries. Sprinting back into the school after that horrifying interaction, the school lights turn on and the alarms start blaring. Thank God we ripped the breaker door off with the strength of 1,000 suns earlier. After that's done, you're supposed to walk down the hallway and push these barricades out of the way. I totally didn't have to look that part up. After navigating through the basement to the other side of the school and also finding an amazing painting of blueberries, you finally reach the area you need to be in. Also, the caretaker once again proves that he has more issues than his ceiling height. I do think that having a name tag that just says caretaker is hilarious though. You're finally in the last area, and if you don't want to see a dead Minecraft kid, look away I guess, because a quick little flashback plays from when you got arrested next to your dead student. You finally reach your classroom, and after solving the ultimate final puzzle, typing in a command because the game is broken, the final scene plays out. This is where it's revealed that it was the students that killed Martin. Oh yeah, the student's name that died was Martin. I didn't think that was important. Anyways, you get captured and yeah, it's pretty much over for you, bud. And that was the end of Back to School, a pretty well made Minecraft horror map. The textures, the atmosphere, the gameplay, all fairly solid. The only complaints I had is that it's hard to know what you're supposed to do sometimes. There's not a whole lot of direction. And also, the ending is broken, so unless you're a super cool, awesome guy like me and no commands, you're stuck. Ignore that let's play I had to look up to find out this command, it was all me, I swear. Now earlier I mentioned that the two Minecraft maps I chose to talk about are complete opposites, and you're about to see that with this next map, the Bloodman. You are in for a hell of a ride. The second I saw this map, I knew I had to play it. The Bloodman was created back in 2017 by Mayor Joel Mayer, and this was also a great experience, but for a different reason. So without further ado, let's get into some Bloodman goodness. You spawn in the beginning room before the game starts. You can grab the dairy, rules, and the story. The dairy is empty. Surely we can make our own dairy entries later on. Rules are also pretty simple, except how exactly do we enforce rule number 4? I'll just play this blindfolded or something. The story is pretty straightforward. You come home from work one day after your car breaks down and blood is all over your house. Hilarity ensues. The story begins at your workplace, where you've got to ask this guy Frank for your car key. I guess he's your boss or something? That's kind of fucked that my boss takes my car keys before work. Wouldn't want me having too much free will. Those meals won't make themselves, Jack. You get the key, you reach your car that's surrounded by trees completely somehow, and you make your way home. Eventually, after being on the road for a while, you run out of fuel, making your walk back to your house. It's a good thing that this road is only leading to your house and nowhere else. Well, never mind, you live in a goddamn mansion. No wonder you have a road all to yourself. Jack notices that the door is left open, and then there's blood all over the floor. Oh well, just watch some TV, I'm sure it's nothing. The TV indicates that it's not nothing, and also it turns out that my kitchen is full of nothing but cobwebs. I must have spent all the money on the mansion. Unrelated to the story, but I love the little detail in the bathroom here. The mirror is just another room built on the other side of the glass. That's a pretty clever way to make a mirror in Minecraft. After the funniest jump scare I've ever seen in my life and Jack completely ignoring his dead wife, you need to find a key. Your wife also left you a note after she died, explaining why the Bloodman is terrorizing you guys and how she died. How did she leave it after being brutally murdered? Because she wrote it as a ghost, duh. After writing my findings in my diary and taking the key, I explored my son's room. Nothing out of the ordinary, just a 31-page book telling me to go to hell. After mugging my dead son, I went on my merry way. Now, I'll admit, I kinda gave up after a while trying to see where I needed to go next, to the point where I just broke down the basement door. The true solution was to find a button on top of a bookshelf and use it on the basement doors. I watched a random Let's Play from 2 children to find this out. This is what playing Cookie Clicker for a week does to a person's IQ. Enter the basement to get to the room of safety, and after reading a very impolite book, the Bloodman is right there! Look, the sign behind him says so! After ripping off the Bloodman's skull and wearing it as a trophy, I ran away and locked him out. Sadly for Jack, another fantastic jump scare finds him. We teleport back to the restaurant where Frank is found bleeding out. Honestly, I'm not upset. His working conditions are abysmal. You finally confront the Bloodman, and after beating the shit out of him, the Bloodman is finally defeated. This is, of course, until you take like 3 steps outside, find some heads on the ground, and get hit with one last jump scare. God, I hope this game gets a sequel soon. Minecraft maps can be a lot of fun, both the good, the bad, and the Bloodman. However, that's only a third of what I wanted to touch on here today, because there's another category of add-ons that you can add to your Minecraft game. We're talking about mods, and we're not talking about Clay Soldier. Oh no, it's at least 2 times scarier than that.
Oh no, that's oh, get your ass away from me, bro. No!
Mods have been around for eons at this point, and there are just so many of them. I remember back in the day making my dad go on Planet Minecraft and watching him try to get mods for me and my brother. He still brings up those horror stories to this day, I'm not joking. Speaking of horror, one thing I used to watch as a kid on YouTube were horror mod showcases, specifically this one Dan TDM creepypasta video. I don't know why. Now, I'll admit there's not a crazy amount of horror mods, especially recent ones, but I found 2 fairly popular ones that caught my interest and definitely were a fun time to mess around with. Let's start off with the mod that I know everybody's gonna be excited about. The myth, the legend, Herobrine. I absolutely kicked his ass, but we'll talk about that later. This first mod is called The Legend of Herobrine, created by Alex McLean. Now, this mod could have just been a straightforward you can summon Herobrine mod, but it takes the concept beyond that. Randomly generated structures such as caves and booby-trapped houses will spawn, there's new weapons, and a new item called the Cursed Diamond, which could be crafted into some pretty busted armor and tools. Last but certainly not least, there's the Herobrine summoning ritual itself. As soon as you summon Herobrine, you're pretty much fucked, because Herobrine will stop at nothing to kill you, as long as it's nighttime or dark out. Anyways, why tell you all of this when I can just show you? After forgetting to record for half an hour, I entered creative mode on a new world so I could gear up. I got my bedrock sword, some holy water, some unholy water, and I was set. I had only one objective: survive 1 day against Herobrine. After summoning him with a new take on the classic Herobrine altar, the game had begun. I immediately checked out the house that was next to my spawn, and my keen eye saw the pressure plates on the floor. As I suspected, TNT. I still blew the place up for the hell of it, not before grabbing the unholy water of course. I could never leave that behind. The daytime wasn't too interesting. Besides getting ambushed by a gaggle of Herobrines in a cave, my holy water did do the trick in that instance. Chopped down some trees, cooked some food, and I prepared a shelter for the night to come. Nighttime had hit, and while I was lighting up the place, I noticed that the animals seemed a bit off. Off as in they were all trying to murder me. When night falls, every entity and mob is out to get you, not just Herobrine. How Herobrine attacks is that he will randomly spawn in different ways. Sometimes he'll slow you, sometimes he'll have a pickaxe, sometimes there'll be like 80 of him. It's a random chance. The night was pretty easy. Actually, it was too easy. It turned out that the armor I gave myself was way too strong and nothing could really kill me. So I humbly downgraded my armor to give Herobrine a fighting chance. Even while weakened, I was still able to hold my own, and I was just too much for the glowy-eyed assailant. Finally, daylight rose once more, leaving me victorious over Herobrine. And all I had to do was give myself the best gear in the game. Truly a great victory. I then decided to spawn like 100 Herobrines and try to fight them all at once. I swear it seemed like a good idea at first. I really enjoyed my time with this mod. It's a fun little addition to your mod pack that adds some difficulty into the game as well as some busted gear. If you ever want to get hunted down for the rest of your life but want to test it out first, this is the mod for you. And with that, my brave fight against Herobrine comes to an end. However, how about a mod that only has boss fights in it and all of the bosses put the Ender Dragon to shame, and it all starts with this fucking clown right here. This next mod is called Scary Mobs and Bosses, created by Ale96, and you guessed it, it's about scary mobs and bosses. The mod adds about 10 new bosses to fight in the game, all of which have little minions they can spawn. Also, this is an amazing looking mod, but also a really uncanny one to look at. I think it's just the way they move. This does not feel like it should be in my block game. Anyways, just like last time, I decided to fight the bosses, but unlike last time, I got my ass handed to me a lot. Let's cycle through all the bosses and what they can do. The first one I fought was ironically the last one you're supposed to fight, appropriately titled Nightmare. It creates a silly little arena for you guys to fight in, and also, even with fully enchanted netherite armor and a maxed out diamond sword, this boss is an absolute tank. Not only did it two-shot me multiple times with all of my armor on, but it took me roughly 7 minutes of constant attacking to finally kill it, and that was with a maxed sword and bow. It's probably one of the least versatile bosses too. All it does is rush towards you and sometimes ground pound with these little tentacle guys coming out of it. The next boss is probably my favorite one, the Clown. I loved summoning this guy. You had to place down this silly little box that sang to you for a while. I was having an absolute blast. Anyways, just like every other boss on this list, this guy is strong, durable, and fast. He bounces around and spawns these floating clown heads that like to go all over the place. He also yells "wow" whenever he gets hit. Oh, I forgot to mention, all bosses drop a specialty weapon when killed. Nightmare dropped a scythe, and Clown dropped a squeaky mallet, which was hands down my favorite weapon. It didn't even squeak, it made like a cartoon anvil sound effect. Next up was Giggles, another clown. Honestly, I was not fucking with Giggles. He was too fast and too similar to the last clown, so I did the right thing and erased him from existence. Next up was Patient, who had a pretty cool summoning animation. It's a nice reference to the Thing. It's strong, it's fast, it's durable, you know the drill. He also spawns these little grub guys, I think like enter your body or something. I don't know, I don't want to think about it. Anyways, he dropped an acid blaster. Next up, I tried to fight a boss called Lumps, but they just kind of ran away from me and swam into the horizon, so I ended up skipping him and switched to the corrupted Enderman, who was actually pretty cool. They would keep hitting me with these pink Endermen who would blind me for a few seconds, and the weapon they dropped was hands down the best one, the Protective. It gave you an invincibility shield for a few seconds, and it was so useful. I then fought the Moon Guardian, who had 2 stages, a super easy to kill first phase and a very speedy second phase, who keeps launching me in the air. This boss gives you the Moon Axe, which just lets you chop wood really fast. Now, I'm not sure if you've noticed a pattern yet, but a lot of these bosses outside of the design are very similar. There's nothing wrong with that, but these bosses were taking like 10 minutes to kill, so I decided to summon the rest and fight all of them at the same time. Viewers, please meet Demon Bat, Demon Orphan, and Big Fist. I love Big Fist, such a goofy guy with a goofy name. It's a shame he killed me. And that's all there really is to scary mobs and bosses. It's really just new bosses and some new weapons. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like the pure durability of these bosses could make the bosses boring at times. But that's only for me. I'm sure there's some actual good survival players out there who would be able to cut through these bosses with ease. If you haven't noticed already, I've only been talking about add-ons for the base game of Minecraft. However, this last segment here is going to be completely separate from the base game of Minecraft. We're talking about Minecraft horror games. Ignore that the first game on this list is just a scary version of Minecraft.
Someone help me. Anyone?
Just like the last 2 categories, I've picked 2 games to look at. Minecraft horror games were actually a bit harder to come across, unless you wanted me to talk about, I don't know, 5 Nights at Minecraft. This first game is titled Error 422, made by Super Medvedis, and while technically it's a modded version of Minecraft, it was its own executable when I downloaded it, and I'm loose with the rules, sue me. Oh, also, quick epilepsy and flashing lights warning, skip to the timestamp on screen to avoid all of that. Let's get right into it. So booting up this game, oh my god, it is loud. This is supposed to be a scary, corrupted version of Minecraft, complete with graphics that could probably melt anyone under the age of 8 if they looked at it for too long. Multiplayer and realms are disabled, and so are most of the options. Your only real choice is to start a survival world. The first thing you might notice is the UI. Your health and hunger bars are unreadable, and the Minecraft version is crossed out and now reads Error 422. Also, your skin has been reset to the basic Steve one, but unfortunately, Steve received a no head. The gameplay is just basic Minecraft, but there's a bunch of little changes made to both your surroundings and elements of the game. For example, you could come across these messed up biomes with floating cactus, and the time could just randomly change. Another big change are random events that can occur. It's really just a bunch of trolling. Your inventory can disappear, creepers can explode instantly, blocks being placed can transform into other blocks. It's just shenanigans. I really wish I could say more about this game. It is interesting, and apparently a lot of people have talked about this, but I'm just kind of iffy on the whole thing. On one hand, I like that somebody made a haunted Minecraft game that's not in-your-face jump scares and blood all the time, but something that succeeds in a different kind of horror, feeling off-putting and sort of creepy. On the other hand, while horror isn't in your face, the glitches and white noise are. Everything is glitching and flashing lights and screaming at you, mostly in the menu. The actual game itself isn't as bad with the glitches, and there's just white noise playing the entire time. I get that it can add to the atmosphere, but I turned the noise off after playing for a while because it could just be too much at times. Also, I died to 2 instant creepers, so yeah, I'm done with this 58 grass blocks out of 107. This final game is an interesting one, and one I've actually played in the past. Ever wanted to play a game about a guy who wants to fuck the crafting table? Well, boy do I have news for you. A Craft of Mine, a game made by Sir Tartarus, is a first-person horror game with a pretty deep backstory. Ever claimed your uncle worked for Nintendo? Well, imagine you did have an uncle who worked for Nintendo, but he went missing and then started a cult about the Chain Chomp. You'll get what I mean soon. The game opens up with a newspaper clipping stating that Mojang developer Thomas Stone went missing, and that apparently he was very disappointed with the way Minecraft was being made. You play as Thomas's nephew, and you decide to boot up Minecraft, only to see that a LAN server is open. Booting into Minecraft, this doesn't feel right. Now, obviously, this isn't going to play exactly like Minecraft. It wasn't made in Minecraft. It plays more like a basic first-person horror game, but it's still just so goofy being able to move like this in a Minecraft setting. Now, one of my favorite gameplay elements here is how the crafting is handled. To get past the first area, you have to actually drag the materials into the slots. Okay, saying that out loud makes it sound like normal Minecraft, but it's not, I swear. You actually have to do it to get what I mean. Progressing through the rooms, you find various text entries. These notes talk about how someone, presumably Thomas, was upset that crafting was not updated nearly as much as other aspects of Minecraft. He had begun to develop an algorithm for infinite crafting, which was going very well at first. Eventually, he even found out how to craft mobs, which may have seemed like it would have been a problem for him at first, but no worries, they just worship the dude. Thomas then goes crazy and starts claiming he is God. It's never a good sign when horror characters do that, is it? Anyways, back to the gameplay. After escaping the first room, you need to go craft a pickaxe. Walk past this crazy white man to get some sticks, go to another room to get some wood, make yourself a pickaxe, you're all good to go. Next, you need to craft a torch to enter this dark tunnel here that I very much want to explore and be in and not get brutally murdered in. After hearing squeaky noises going through the tunnel, do some parkour to reach a door with a diamond on the other end. Sadly, someone never learned to share, as you're then chased by this nasty little flesh monster. Thank God it gets crushed after you escape. The next area has you crafting a lever to open a door. However, you're in a dark room with a few pillars and some hiding spaces. You need to go around this dark room gathering materials so you can create a lever and escape. But you're not alone, as this weird green thing starts to chase you. I think it's supposed to be like a mutated creeper, but it looks more like a worm or something, I don't know. Try to listen for where the green man's at, go the opposite way, and escape. So, do you remember earlier how I compared this game to your uncle starting a cult about the chain chomp? Well, when Thomas went crazy over his creations, he started this weird fascination with the crafting table, as seen in this room here. There's two rooms here that you can enter. The first one is another squeaky room with some materials in it. Don't look up though, you're probably not going to like what you see. The second room has you grab a pickaxe, but after doing so, you get trapped in this room and are forced to play a mini game. There are 4 platforms with lights, and you have a small amount of time to make your way to the platform that has the light on and survive. After 3 lights go off, an eyeball will spawn that you need to break. The difficulty will increase with each eyeball destroyed, and you eventually are able to escape after destroying the eyeball 3 times. You can finally use the pickaxe to escape the room you were in, and after I failed the easiest parkour known to man, I finally made it to the final room. One last note reads that Thomas will eventually make Mojang pay for what they did. You could then take an elevator up this tower to a big window where a giant crafting table is seen outside. Tripped Go, aka Thomas, then joins the game, and he's confused as to how you joined as well. After Thomas waits a freaking second, he realizes who you are and tells you to get the f out of there, but not before doing a title drop. He said the thing, guys, he said it! Anyways, you don't deserve to behold the art of the craft, and you're banned from the server, ending the game. I like the craft of mine. I think it was a neat concept executed well. I like that Minecraft horror is starting to branch out beyond maps and mods, and more horror games based on Minecraft are beginning to get made. I did have a few issues with the game. I do feel as if some of the scary things were a bit out of place, like the whole eyeball minigame thing, and I also thought that the ending was kind of goofy, but I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think more horror games should end with the bad guy saying frick and then a title drop. That would have made Garten of Banban so much better. And with that, I have talked about all of the Minecraft horror content that I wanted to discuss. Outside of Herobrine, Minecraft horror content isn't really discussed all that much, even with the Minecraft community. I might have heard one of my friends bring up a horror map a couple times, but that's really it. And it's a shame, because Minecraft can be used as an effective game tool to make horror games, as seen with something like Back to School. I'll admit, a lot of Minecraft horror stuff can be kinda dumb, but really that goes for any horror content based on pre-existing IPs that exist out there. Have you even seen Sonic EXE? Look at this guy. I believe that horror content in Minecraft can have a somewhat successful future if it is utilized correctly. No more Herobrine though, that guy scares the absolute shit out of me. I never want to see him again. Go.